grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Well, hello, Alex, the producer here. We are back with another review episode. We've got a bunch of stuff from Birdman, and we've got some stuff from Ken, and we have a couple things from myself. This has sort of been a few weeks in the coming. In the last few weeks, we did review episodes in place of the regular show when Birdman was away, and we had Family Day and whatnot, but now we're back into the regular swing of things with the regular show and this. So, a bit of a variety here. We've got a few things coming, and I'm rambling. This is basically a very simple, quick review show of some of the most recent items that we've received and things that we wanted to make sure we talked about. So there's not much more to say here. So without further ado, let's get into the reviews.
It is the 31st century, and mankind is once again at war. The battlefields of the future are dominated by huge robotic war machines known as battlemechs. Piloting these awesome weapons of war are men and women, the elite of the elite, knowing that each battle could be their last. They are mech warriors.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I've actually got something kind of neat. So I checked out a local business that I found out on Instagram, and his handle is mysignguy.ca. So a couple of weeks ago, I got my wife Blair a custom-made Guelph storm sign, as well. Frankly, she's a larger hockey fan than me. So I started chatting with the individual John, and I was like, hey, I want to see what you can do. Let's see if you can do something a little bit more unusual than just sports stuff. So I challenged him to do something for us, and that's the basis of this review. As you guys know, I am a huge fan of the BattleTech franchise. So mech warriors, these gigantic war machines stomping across the 31st century of Earth and all these other places across the galaxy. And hey, the BattleTech cartoon, no guts, no galaxy, right? So I sent two things to mysignguy.ca. I sent him a fairly new mercenary unit, which is new to me, and it's probably no surprise that I'm a huge fan of this, Fox Patrol. I also sent him a clan insignia for Clan Ghost Bear. And I'm like, hey, if you can do these two things up, let's see what you got. And quite literally, as the old video game meme goes, show me your moves. Well, he's printed these out for me. And if you go to my Instagram, which is BirdmanODST, you can go over there and see these things. Now, I've actually posted these on Reddit, on the BattleTech Reddit. I've also posted these on Facebook in the Southern Ontario BattleTech group. And the response from the community has been really fantastic. Now, for my personal response, I am utterly amazed at these, just how well these things turned out, especially the Fox Patrol one. These turned out so well. Now, I did ask John how he does make these, and he uses a multicolor 3D printer in a light box style. He prints them in two parts, so you get the lid, which is the top, and then the case, which is the bottom. He uses a sawtooth hanger, which is pretty easy for you to attach to most walls, either using nails or any type of command hook. You can do that pretty easy. Now, what he uses inside the lights are 6,000K LED strip lights. These things have about a runtime of about 50,000 hours. So if you leave this thing on 24/7, it should last you about 8 years, according to John. And he also offers a warranty with these things. So if there's ever any kind of a defect, Just give this guy a message on Instagram or via email, and right there you are dealt with right on the spot. And there aren't too many stores that I see in the online space in like the Etsy and Instagram thing that offer that level of customer service. And I'm really, really impressed with it. Like, just how bright and vibrant the Guelph Storm sign is, Fox Patrol and Ghost Bear. I would be very tempted to get a few more things. I'd like to see maybe something from Power Rangers, or maybe something from Transformers like an Autobot, or maybe a Predacon purple insignia, or, you know, the sky's the virtual limit here. I'm really, really impressed. And the prices are outstandingly affordable. I know I paid $60 for Blair's sign, but I think my sign would cost somewhere between I don't want to say, because it is custom work, so you may want to contact for details, but I have found him to be extremely easy to deal with. Like I said, customer service so far has been second to none. Like, I really can't say too much more about this than I am utterly impressed with this. Like, seriously, the fact that my BattleTech units have been brought to life, that I have the mercenary unit Fox Patrol on my wall in bright, glowing color. I just heard Dutch sing, so evidently he likes it too. We also have Clan Ghost Bear, which I think is one of the better Warden clans from the BattleTech universe, but it looks outstanding. So guys, if you are in the mood for a custom LED sign, I really can't recommend these guys enough. So that is My Sign Guy on Instagram. So mysignguy.ca. Tell him Birdman sent you from This Week in Geek, and I think you're going to have a fantastic time. Do something weird, do something cool, and you will have this for your nerd lair, maybe your office. But hey, my wife loved it, so it does make a pretty cool gift too. So check that out. That is mysignguy.ca.
Problem, Lance Leader. Jaguars are splitting up. I repeat, the mechs have split up.
Copy, Ground Commander. We're on them. Fireflies 1 and 2. Track the 4.
Roger that, Commander. We're almost there.
We'll handle the Mad Cat. Big Al, stand by to intercept. Moving to position. Interception successful.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends over at Mill Creek sent their newest release, which is a box set of Documentary Now, the complete collection on Blu-ray here. Now, what's interesting is this is a documentary anthology series created by Fred Armisen. Fred Armisen. God, his name sometimes confuses me. Bill Hader, Seth Meyers, basically a bunch of people from SNL. And it's a parody series of some of the best known documentaries, which is something that you don't see that often. And I had never actually heard of it. And because it was one of those anthology shows that showed up on like IFC. So a lot of Fred Armisen stuff does. And what it is like I said, they're parodying those, world-renowned documentaries from different filmmakers and different eras. And even the packaging here is meant to parody like the Criterion Collection. Even like it says the complete collection on it. If at a first glance, it looks almost like the packaging that you would see for a Criterion Collection box. It's like very, very close. Like, obviously it's in the parody realm. So, there's no mistaken copyright on it or anything. But it is right in line with the box packaging that you see for a lot of the thicker boxes for Criterion, and down to like the font type, the color aesthetic, the highlights of it, just and some of the box art is just very similar. So it's actually a really solid job that they've done to make sure that it, even in packaging, isn't cheap and it looks premium like the stuff that they're trying to parody. Pretty solid, funny documentary, funny series in itself, worth watching for sure. Comes with a 28-page collectible booklet with an introduction, and eight mini poster cards, There are bonus features from like IFC's discussion panels, behind the scenes featurettes on the creation of multiple aspects of it, which is pretty solid. Deleted scenes that didn't make the cut because some of them were funny, some of them just didn't really fit the flow of it. There are tons of famous character actor and leading actor guest stars in different episodes. It's spread over 4 discs. It's 600 minutes long, solid. The audio is what you'd expect because it's meant to replicate documentary. It's nothing fantastic. The video is clear as it's a modern production, so you're not going to have any trouble seeing or hearing anything. Nothing to write home about that way. It's just more of a surprise that they bundled it all together in this one premium set that, again, if you stuck on the shelf of somebody who is a Criterion Collection holder, they might be able to walk by a few times without noticing that it's out of place. And that's always fun. Like, even the packaging is tongue-in-cheek. And I do think it's worth checking out. If you're unsure of what it is, you can look up documentary now with an exclamation point on YouTube and watch a trailer or some highlights and determine whether or not it's something you think you should buy for your collection.
Now, a motion picture so grand, so magnificent, and so vast, it spans 7,000 years.
No way! Yes way!
But it starts with Bill.
I'm Bill S. Preston!
Who was Joan of Arc?
And Ted.
Noah's wife? We're in danger of flunking most heinously tomorrow.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I'm here to talk about something really fun we got from our friends over at Shout Factory. So this originally got sent to us for our holiday gift guide. Unfortunately, we had Canada Post problems at that time, and we're just getting back into production now. But hey, better late than never. This was a surprising send to me, as I'm a huge fan of these movies. I'm talking about Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Trilogy. What am I talking about? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and Bill and Ted Face the Music. A trio of, I would actually say, classic films. I actually have a very long history with the Bill and Ted franchise. I saw Bogus Journey when I was a kid, and I saw Excellent Adventure as well. I specifically remember renting Bogus Journey and Terminator 2 on the same weekend, and both of those had a music video on the VHS, and I remember watching the Bill and Ted music video a lot. I just really thought it was fun. I was a huge fan of Keanu Reeves at the time, and I was such a fan of Bill and Ted that I used to watch the cartoon as a kid. If you remember the cartoon, bonus points for you. I even had the Bill and Ted cereal. So when Shout Factory sent this to me, tremendously excited. I love collecting 4K. So what can I say about this? Audio and visual, outstanding looking. They sound really clean, really crisp. Great music. Voices are really good and present in each of the mixes that I've listened to so far. And yeah, I mean, a lot of care was put into these older movies. Obviously the best looking one's going to be Face the Music, as it's the most recent film, but Bogus Journey, my favorite, looks great overall. Plus, Death is awesome, and you don't want to give him a Melvin. That being said, extensive special features. A lot of them are really long. Again, a lot of care and depth when it went into this. So if you want to see like Comic-Con panels, commentaries, all sorts of neat stuff, it's there. If I did have one negative to say about this, and this is something I saw with the Back to the Future box set a while ago, you could have put the cartoon on here, and I would have been willing to pay more for that. I mean, at least a couple of episodes I think would have been really cool, but if Shout Factory were to ever release the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, I would buy that in a heartbeat. That, I think, is the only thing missing from this trilogy of fantastic films. If they would have given us a bonus disc, even if it was standard definition DVD, I would have been really okay with that. Like, I know there's a Back to the Future cartoon box set that you can pick up for like $20 or $30. I know I got it for my birthday a couple of years ago. That would have been about the only thing I could have possibly added to this, was having that cartoon. Like, if you're going to have the entire franchise, have the entire franchise. I think that would have been a really neat addition to it. But overall, Shout Factory never seems to do a bad job when it's an IP they know people care about. So this is, I think, an outstanding release. It is definitely, as they say, most triumphant. You're getting 2 discs, the 4K and the Blu-ray. Tons of special features here. There is a lot to love with this. So if you've ever wanted to take the phone booth that isn't a TARDIS and travel through the circuits of time to go visit Socrates, as they say, or perhaps go to hell and see our dearly departed friend George Carlin on here, then I think you're going to have a fantastic time. You're going to have a most triumphant time with Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Trilogy sent to us from our friends over at Shout Factory. Looking forward to reviewing more of the releases from these guys, and hopefully it won't get held up in a Canada Post strike next time.
I have a feeling we're about to embark upon a most unprecedented expedition.
Alex, the producer here, and this is going to be a little bit of a different segment. It's probably going to go into one of our review shows, or maybe the main show, and it's a sort of an indie, what games have you been playing, I guess preview slash early opinions kind of review, in that there were a few titles that I played that didn't really warrant having full-length reviews, but definitely worth mentioning as first impressions are quite good. The first one here is the Macross Shooting Insight, now, or Macross, depending on how you pronounce it. Now, this is a shooting game, like a side and vertical shmup space shooter from Macross. And it's kind of surprising that they got the license worldwide for it, because there's always been sort of a rights issue with the rights holder for the property that was renamed and re-edited in the West and yada yada yada. It's one of those. But I can say this, I've playing this on PC and it's actually pretty fun. The difficulty curve can use some tweaking, I think, as with most space shooters. It's kind of how it is. Now there is 360-degree scrolling shooting for it, where you can just like move around and shoot your guys. It's solid. There's anime-ish looking characters with cutscenes in between, just sort of setting up the world. It's got a pretty good, decent story, as you'd expect from the property. Controls are fine. Plays on basically anything. So it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the series, or just a fan of shoot 'em ups and shmups in general. The other couple of indie titles that I've been playing is Marion's Day. Now this is a pretty short game. You're looking at like a couple hours, depending on how you take your time. But it's made to it's like an adventure puzzle game, made to look and feel like a Game Boy game, like a GBA title, and it's charming and fun. And it's if you're looking for something that's sort of like a pick me up, or if you're having like sort of a blasé day and you like want to just have something you can sit down and chillax with, it can sort of evoke the memories of playing these sorts of Game Boy and GBA games, or Game Boy Color games, sorry, of the late 90s. It's pretty simple controls. You move around with the arrow keys. There is a single action key for doing things and fishing, and there's a single key for canceling. And like I said, you'll get through it, breeze through it pretty quickly. It is something that's very reasonably priced, and it's just a fun little cozy game that'll basically run on anything, so you don't have to worry about having a high-end computer or anything to play it, obviously. And I think I've had a pretty good time with it so far, and I can recommend it, especially if you're looking for something on a cozy afternoon, if it's raining or snowing or just bad weather in general. And the final game I sort of want to talk about here is I played a demo of Aegis Force, the Scorian War, and it is a new tactical JRPG where it's got a unique art style. I saw it as part of I think it's the Steam Next Fest and demos that are coming out, and I had a chance to just check out the demo, and I'm going to keep my eye on the final release. And I do think it's worth checking out. If you can check out the demo, if it's still available where you are, I would say it's worth it. Plays on pretty much anything. Again, it's got a good visual flair, and it's a pretty unique looking indie title. I'm a sucker for RPGs and anything that's got like a cool isometric look and good pixel art, and it's going for something that's a little different. It's a 2.5 HD pixel design, turn-based tactical combat, as well as there's full town and world exploration. So again, keep your eye out for it. I think it's pretty sweet, and I had a pretty good time with it. So that's going to do it for my little indie roundup here of titles that I said, hey, cool stuff, but not necessarily able to make full long segments for each individual, but worth your time nonetheless. My first impressions have been pretty good with them. I would say for anybody out there looking for a variety of stuff, right now is a good time to check out if your PC can run a lot of these things. In most cases, each one of these games that I talked about will run on basically a potato. So if you've got like a laptop with integrated graphics, it's probably still going to work. It's just not going to maybe be quite as flashy in some cases. But that's it. I guess we're going to go back to the show, whether this is a review show or the regular show. So I guess this is me signing off until I find more cool, interesting indie games to check out.
Perhaps a new hunting ground.
The great hunt begins. Scorpion, Martin Lee, Black Cat. This Craven guy's putting together quite the team. Whatever they're planning, we'll stop them. I really should have stretched.
That kid you're tutoring, he's the other one?
It's better if I don't know the details.
I'll be fine, Ma. Class is back in session.
I sense that beast.
Let's end this!
Venom! Hey guys, Ken Reels here, and welcome to my review for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 for the PC. And this is developed by the folks over at Nixxes and Insomniac and published by our friends at PlayStation. And thank you to the folks at Sony and PlayStation for sending me a code. This is a port of the PS5 release of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And if you've seen some of the headlines as of this recording, it's a mixed bag. Personally, I had a pretty good time with this 20 or so hours that I've played. I played it at 1440p native, 0 DLSS on it, with dynamic resolution scaling on. That allows me to easily hit 60 FPS with very little noticeable dips, but overall those dips are non-existent. It's just when I'm swinging or whatever. And currently, a lot of the really bad graphical glitches seem to be a result of DLSS, because as soon as I turned off DLSS, a lot of the major issues were non-existent. Like, I saw hair becoming blocky and texture pop-ins happening a lot when I had the DLSS on. Going up to 4K resulted in overloading my GPU even with DLSS, which is a first, even for some of the previous PS5 port titles that I've been reviewing. This does have direct storage functionality, and that works perfectly fine on the title, allowing for seamless loading. And I would see a spike in the CPU usage, but that's only while I was fast traveling from one side of the map to the complete other corner of the map. So it really wasn't that bad. And this is the first title released since Sony did an about-face on their requirement of PSN on their single-player titles. However, they are still only limiting the purchasing of the game to PSN-enabled territories. So, give and take on that. And the 20 hours I have played, it really does feel like I found the right combo of settings to make my play enjoyable at the very least. Oh, this is, again, a port of Sony Spider-Man 2. It is a sequel, technically, to Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales and the original Marvel Spider-Man from the PS4. It is using the PS5 remasters version of Peter Parker. So, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. But generally, the story is that it's a direct sequel, and we get introduction of Agent Venom. You get all these different aspects and seeing all these different characters and seeing sequels to some of the side quests of the previous games was very cool, and I really much enjoyed the bits and pieces that I got through during this playthrough. But do I recommend this port? Sort of. I'm not running stuff on the bleeding edge of gaming, and I think while this is probably the worst Nixus port to date, it's been highly supported with updates coming fast and quick, and I'm sure we'll see support over the next few months addressing many of the different graphical and crash bugs that occur. If you want to see how it runs on your build and possibly use Steam's refund policy if it runs like dog water on your build, sure, I would genuinely think it's worth at least trying to play it. If not, waiting a few months come Steam summer sale, it might actually be worth it. So that is going to be it for Marvel Spider-Man 2. A mixed bag on this release. I think it's still genuinely a fun game, and knowing Nixus, they're going to support it a lot. It might be worth your time if you're interested. So it's a okay, maybe, from us at This Week in Geek. And yeah, thank you for Sony for sending me a code.
Our friends at Koei Tecmo sent over a review code for Warriors Abyss. This was the new Warriors game based obviously on the Dynasty Warriors franchise, but done in the roguelike genre. Just sort of shadow dropped about a little bit while ago during one of the big gaming showcases, and we're like, whoa! It just sort of dropped. And out of the blue, I got an email saying, hey, would you like to check it out? And I went, yeah, let's do that. So I'm not usually the biggest fan of roguelikes or any of those. And I'm also, over the years, I found myself being at odds sometimes with the Warriors franchise in that it had sort of gotten stale. And I mean, that's sort of a complaint. People have had it for a long time, but it generally really started to show its age with the engine and with just the lack of inspiration. I think a lot of it was just the number of iterations just barely changing anything. And recently, when they put out the Origins game, it was like a shot of adrenaline in the arm. It's just refreshing everything, much better design, more stuff to do, unique look, just felt better playing. And this is another one. To me, this is almost like when Ubisoft came out with the new Prince of Persia game and went and changed the genre and went with a little bit like lower budget AA style game. And that's what this is. This is a lower budget AA style game in the same world, putting a complete new twist on the whole gameplay. It is in my mind better than a lot of the other games that it's trying to emulate, simply because it feels faster paced. It's a little less punishing than some of the other roguelites out there, and it just, you still have the power trip fantasy of being able to kill tons of things with your power-ups and cooldowns and just overall like massive things happening on the screen at once. And they've tailored the design so that it can run on slightly lower end computers or just lower end hardware without it taxing it. So if you're playing it on console, it's not going to like completely tank the frame rate like it can happen when you have a ton of things happening on screen. Visually, it's clearly AA. It's a bit of a dip, but it's also, the style is not intended to be like super high end crisp. Audio is serviceable. Nothing super crazy to write home about. Controls are solid, which is the most important part here, and the actual gameplay loop is pretty addicting and fun. So I do think it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the genre or a fan of the franchise. It is something that is finally new and different in the Warriors world, and I can't wait to see what new genres maybe they jump into next, because this again came completely out of nowhere, and I'm pleasantly surprised with it, and I do think that most of you probably will be too.
So many Rangers. So much potential. Squandered for so long.
My lord, the generals are ready. They simply await your command.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman, and it's Morphin' time right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net, and I'm very happy to kick off one of my first RPG reviews of the year with Renegade Game Studios, the Power Rangers role-playing game Through the Shattered Grid sourcebook. This is more or less the Boom Studios comic sourcebook, so if you've read the Boom Studios comic for quite some time, which I definitely had, I read up until just after the Solar Ranger saga. So after Tommy had gotten the White Ranger powers, I read a little bit after that, and I checked in a few times leading up to the Death Ranger stuff. And this is the source book I've been waiting for, because one of my favorite things that really reignited my love of Power Rangers, and I probably shared this before on the show, was Shattered Grid, where Tommy Oliver, Jason David's Frank's character, had become this world-conquering person known as Lord Draken, this evil, kind of like a white and green ranger with like a red visored white helmet, this wicked-looking dragon shield, and he had a brainwashed Kimberly Hart who was known as the Ranger Slayer. And Shattered Grid was exciting. I remember going down to my local comic book shop and getting the Shattered Grid issue that was in the black baggie. So if you remember how Superman died in the 90s, they did a version of that for Power Rangers, and it was sick. I absolutely loved Shattered Grid. So the idea is there's this world called the Coinless, where the Power Rangers had lost pretty significantly, and Lord Draken was able to cross dimensions and start conquering and stealing other Rangers' power. So it could be like the Silver and Space Rangers, it could be the Jungle Fury guys, or the Blue Samurai Rangers, and stuff like that. Like people who were under his thrall, who were collaborators, and were going across the morphing grid, stealing other Rangers' powers. And it's an epic storyline in the comics. It's amazing to read. I can't recommend it enough. So when Renegade Game Studios had dedicated an entire book at it, this is really, really cool. So you get stats for Draken, you get Commander Scorpina, you get the Ranger Slayer, the Grave Zord. You even get the new Green Ranger, which I really don't want to spoil that. But it also talks about stuff that happened in the Boom Studio comics with Grace Sterling and the 1960s Rangers that went to the moon. It talks about Promethea. It talks about other events in the comics. Again, I really don't want to spoil for you, but it's such a love letter to the franchise. And I really think if you wanted to create a darker game for your Power Rangers RPG experience, this book is absolutely necessary. Like playing a origin character, for example, from the world of the Coinless, you could do that. Or maybe you're an Eltaran war survivor or stuff like that. It really goes in depth into exploring the lore that the Boom Studios people created. Like you get stats for Lord Zed's Zed Ranger. You find out about Mistress Vile. Stuff I've always wanted statted, and as the old adage goes, if you stat it, they will kill it. They even talk about like Ranger Zombies, which is like incredible. Like, I would love to run a coinless game and cross that with the other games from Renegade. Like, I could easily see Megatron working with Lord Draken, or even Unicron trying to corrupt the morphing grid. There are some incredible potential here for crossovers. Like, there are very few books I say that are absolutely 100% necessary for you to own that will really enhance your game. Like, this is, I think, so far for me, this is the must-have of 2025 for the Power Rangers IP. Like I said, the Boom Studios comics really put a lot of life into the Power Rangers franchise, and whatever happens next with this, it's exciting. Like, I can have Bulk and Skull as contacts now. That's cool. I can have them fight Tyrannosaurus sentries or the Pink Ranger snipers. Like, this is the dark, gritty game I've been waiting for. So this is awesome. If you've ever wanted Lord Draken to fight Megatron or to maybe go toe-to-toe with Serpentor, now you can do that. This is wicked. So for the Power Rangers role-playing game through the Shattered Grid sourcebook from Renegade Game Studios, yes, 100% this is absolutely worth your time, and you should get this, because remember, they could have been gods.
And it's time to set things right.
We will invade their worlds. We will tear down everything that might protect them. And then, when it's too late, when they're powerless and alone, they will realize the truth. They could have been gods.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
And that's going to do it for the show this week. What do we have coming up next? Well, we've got Earth vs. Soup coming tomorrow as of this recording. We've got a special Soviet episode that, or Soviet movies that Aaron and Darlene recorded. That'll be coming out. And then we're back to our regular numbered, randomized episodes that they've been recording every following Thursday from then on. We've also got a bunch of stuff in the works from from Future Imperfect, from Loose Cannon, a bunch of stuff that we're calling our evergreen content, certain things that are maybe on specific topic shows that aren't like super like have to be released whenever. So we've got those random access memories coming, and those are going to be dropping every other week. So we're going to put them out either in a Tuesday or Wednesday slot, but on alternating weeks, so that we've got a bunch of cool variety of things, so it doesn't get boring when you're listening to it. So we're going to have a variety of things popping up. We do have a regular program coming out on Monday. I am visiting with family, so I think I'll be back in time to record. If not, Birdman might fly solo. It's just all going to depend on scheduling, because this is the time of year where I end up visiting family for birthdays and different things, and it seems to be they're all falling on Sunday/Monday over the next few weeks, and we'll see what happens there. But that's basically it. It was just a very quick review show of items that we wanted to make sure we talked about that couldn't make it onto the regular show because of review timing constraints. And I've also been playing a few games for review that some are embargoed, so we'll see over the next couple of weeks. There's some pretty big titles that we've had to check out that we're going to be definitely talking about. So that's pretty much it right now. And I guess everybody, hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.